Hi, this is Steve. Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review. In this video, I'll be building Eaglemoss's Ghostbusters Ecto-1. I am on issue 7, stage 20. Now, if you haven't done so already, head over to Eaglemoss and subscribe to this car today. It's fantastic. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and show you how far we've gotten with issue 7. Look at the chassis. Look how big this is. It's not even complete yet. There's more that needs to go in on the back side. This thing is massive and it's huge. You just imagine what this will look like on your shelf at home. So also there's an important message in this video on your steering wheel shaft, your steering shaft here, and I talk about that in this video. So it's real important that you watch this video to let me tell you what's going on with this, and I want to thank my viewer who did that for me. So with that, let's get started on stage 20. Welcome back. Let's look at the instructions for stage 20. So you can see here for stage 20 we received a middle chassis, which is very large, some oil pipes, and a lot of hardware here. Here's the instructions for stage 20. So we have a total of 3 steps involved with the first 2 pages. And we simply put the first 2 pieces of the chassis together here, and then we put in some fittings on the chassis, and then we install the oil pipes. We'll run those through the chassis as they tell us here. And that completes stage 20. So I'll be right back with the parts. Here's the parts for stage 20. A very large bag, and you can see this would be the underside of it, all metal here. We have some oil pipes rolled up in here. So I'll go ahead and take these out and we'll get a closer look. Welcome back. Here's a close-up of the parts that we received. Here's the middle chassis. You can see how large it is, and it's metal. Here's the other side of it there. Wow, it really fills up my workbench. Pretty large. We received a longer oil hose and a shorter oil hose. The longer oil hose is 20B. The shorter one is 20C. We received 2 splitters. They are made of plastic. One that has the fork on it on top here, that is 20E, and they consider that splitter B. And then the one without the fork on it is part number 20D, and that's splitter A. We received CM, EM, IM, and LM screws. In step 1, we assemble the middle chassis. Now we're going to be putting the CM screws into this. There will be 6 of them. There's 6 holes that those screws go into on the middle chassis here. They're going into metal, and I went ahead and I pre-lubricated the holes that they go into with the Vaseline. You can find that in my Amazon store if you like. I've already lubricated the holes ahead of time, so it kind of saves some time. So now we just simply put this together here, and it lines up. There's an alignment tab here and an alignment tab over there. And I'm going to do this one first in the middle just to get it started. Kind of hold everything in place there. Went in really easy with the Vaseline in there. I'm going to do the other side next. Looking good. This thing is huge. It barely fits on my workbench. I don't hardly have any room here. I need a bigger workbench or a bigger boat.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
These are going in very nice. I thought the article in the magazine was very cool with that the first monster that they used in the movie. Very informative article. I believe there's a book out there you can purchase from Eaglemoss. It has all the articles that are actually published in this magazine. And you can probably find that on Amazon. I'm pretty sure I can put a link in my Amazon store. So you can purchase that book if you like. And last one. And to make sure this one over here is in tight, and they're all in tight. That looks great. Let me flip it over so you can see what the underside looks like. It's massive. This thing is huge. I would say it's, how long is it? Let's run a ruler on this. So this is running about 12 inches to 14.5 inches long. Wow, it's huge. Now we install the pipe splitters. Once again, we're putting screws into metal, and we're going to be using EM screws for this. We have two areas that the screws go into. They go in right here on this side and right there. 20D goes in first. It has an alignment tab on it. You might be able to see it with the side camera over there. Simply going to go into an alignment tab here on that, and then we'll put our screw into it, the EM screw. These are the pipe splitters. Looks good. And then 20E goes in on the other side. It's the one with the fork on it. So the screw kind of holds it down where the fork is. Just a little patience there, and we'll get it in. Once again, it's an EM screw. That looks good there. Side camera, you can see it really well. Now, before I proceed on with installing the front part of the chassis with the middle chassis, one of my viewers pointed out that you want to make sure that your steering shaft is positioned correctly. Otherwise, none of your items on the steering column will line up correctly. So according to the instructions, it's a little vague, but they tell you that the flat edge needs to be in a down direction. Now, it might be kind of hard to see here, but you can see the flat edge on the end of the drive shaft here. Not the drive shaft, the steering shaft needs to be on the bottom, okay, on the lower side, and not facing up. So mine was facing up. I had to move it, and in order for me to do that, I had to remove everything to get at all the bolts that mount the cover on the gearbox for the steering. Now, to save you some time, in case yours isn't like that, so you can move it around, all you would need to do at this point before you start installing all the chassis components is remove the engine. So in order to remove the engine, remember there's just 3 screws that hold the engine in place. One here on the end, and then 2 of them, one here and one there, that hold the engine in. So you can simply just take the engine out, and then you'll have access to all the screws on that gearbox. So you can make the adjustment. Now when you adjust that steering rod for the steering wheel to where it's facing down. Make sure both of your tires are straight when you do that. Okay? Make sure both front tires are straight when you make that adjustment. After you get that done, then you can proceed to the next step that I'm getting ready to show you. And I want to thank my viewer for pointing this out to me. Step 3, we fit the middle chassis, and we grab the front of the car that we already built in the previous issues, and that's going to go down right underneath the chassis bottom here. So we're going to flip this over, and it's going to go down just like that. Making sure all my lines are cleared out of the way. Just like that. Now we want to lubricate the holes there. Again, 4 spots. We're going to be doing LM screws on the front and IM screws in the back. So the LM screws go in here. I know you can't see it because it's hidden by the engine a little bit. We put LM screws back here also. I told you IMs, but the IMs go back here even further. So we got 2 more LMs that go in back here. Lift it up a little bit so it has some bite there. And we'll put these LMs in. And these are a little bit shorter than the IMs. Put this IM in. That looks good. And that looks good there. Now we have to turn it over and we got to put some EM screws in. Got my washcloth so I can put the engine on top of it so we don't do any damage to that. We're going to flip this over. You're going to be very careful. So we have 4 EM screws that have to go in. We have 2 right here and 2 right here. Then the others. That's good there. That's good there. Two more to go, and they're towards the front of the chassis. And one more. Try not to put too much pressure on top of this. I'm lifting it off because we do have the steering column that's hanging down underneath, so we want to be careful with that. And there we go. Looks good so far. Next we put oil pipe B in, which is a longer one, on our first splitter. Now the splitter is actually up front. I have the chassis turned over so you can see it from the top. But here's our splitter, and it has a fitting on top. And we'll put that on there. Okay, and that's on there. That's good. You can kind of see it there in the picture, hopefully. Okay. Now we need to flip it over because it's going to run back towards the back here. Just like that, and it's actually going to run through one of those pipe holders in the chassis further back. So you can see, I need to move this so you can see it. And it's going to go in my little pipe holder over here on the left hand side of the chassis. So I need to feed that through with some tweezers. Just like that. Oh, need to put this through all the way though. It needs to go under, as much as possible, and then through. And I'll pull it through. There we go. In between the transmission, and it's actually going to go on this proportioning valve. This little portion of the proportioning valve sticking out. Just like that. And there we go. This time we run the shorter pipe, 20C, E, and it kind of sticks out right there. It's going to go on the back end of it. Back and forth, and it's on it. Now we can run this all the way through the chassis just like we did the other. Here we go. It's going to go under again, through the holder, there you go, under the chassis still. You didn't see that, but it's right there on the proportioning valve. That's where I put it. And there you have it. That completes stage 20, where we installed the front of the chassis to the front frame assembly, and that all went in very well. We had to put screws in on both sides. There's a lot going on here and had to be very careful with that. I would recommend some really good tweezers, and you can find these on my Amazon store if necessary, to put in those brake line pipes. But they're all in and they all look good. We have them on both ends plugged in. It really looks the part. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. Also hit that bell so you get all notifications on when I upload new videos and give you updates on this build itself. Head over to Eaglemoss and subscribe to this fantastic car. You will not be disappointed, and it's an investment that will not lose its value. So with that, happy modeling everybody, and take care.